Ah, at last, the witch is gone. But they've just replaced her with another one. The rumours came out last week that Kathleen Kennedy was stepping down at Lucasfilm. I don't think she should have been given the honour of stepping down. She should have been fired a long time ago. But she did do something you'd expect that no one could do. She destroyed Star Wars as a franchise. She destroyed everything that Lucasfilm stood for. But it's okay. Place one witch for another. But that witch is Dave Filoni. There we go. Star Wars shake-up. Kathleen Kennedy steps down. Filoni and Brennan, I don't know if I'm saying her last name right, but I don't give a shit, to be honest, to take over Lucasfilm. So Filoni is basically going to be in charge of the creative side, and Brennan, whatever her last name is, she's going to be in charge of the business side, which she already is. Business is doing great at Lucasfilm at the moment, isn't it? How many things have been announced and disappeared? Pretty much everything. The whole shake-up, this is not a shake-up. This is predictable. But at the same time, real shake-up would have been if they fired Kathleen Kennedy back in like 2018 when the writing was on the wall that she just wanted to push her agenda. She didn't give a fuck about the Star Wars funding out there. She just wanted to push. Can everyone remember when we were supposed to be getting a movie a year? That's doing great, isn't it? TV shows getting cancelled like The Acolyte. I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole. My God. The problem with Filoni, if you ask me, years and years ago, back when he was doing Clone Wars with George, it would have been a little bit like, it would have been a bit more of an exciting thing. People trusted Filoni a bit more then when he was doing Clone Wars, but because everyone was blinded that he was getting babysat by George Lucas, when he's had the reins by himself, he's just showing that all he does is just a parasite. He just clings onto things to big himself up, basically. I do like the Clone Wars. I even like the first 2 seasons of Rebels, then it started going downhill. Don't know why. It got really boring. I know there's a lot of people that didn't like Rebels because it was had a bit more of a childish animation style and everything. But I enjoyed the stories and everything. But it's when Thrawn came in, you could tell he didn't know what to do with Thrawn. He gave a very basic representation of who Thrawn is. Then we had the Ahsoka series, and again, showed that he still doesn't know who Thrawn is. He has these great ideas that just fail all the time. That's not who Thrawn is. But, he doesn't have enough behind him to be running this company. But at the end of the day, nor did Kathleen Kennedy. Her big up was she was grabbing cups of tea for George. She was grabbing cups of teas when they were making Indiana Jones. Oh my God, the last Indiana Jones. Why did George ever recommend to put her in charge of Luke? He wanted it to fail, and it has. Used to be one of the biggest IPs out there. Used to be massive fandom. No one talks about it anymore, except to basically say how bad it's become. But the problem with Dave Filoni taking over, and as I said, Dave Filoni is a parasite. That speech he gave years ago about why they pushed Rey, they did. Hang on, I'll play it and we'll go from there. So this is Dave Filoni talking at one of these feminist women talks about why they do what they do, but it's only just under 4 minutes long. I'll let it play.
Even ever have in canon the idea that he had an apprentice, let alone that it would be a girl. I didn't care. I thought that's a great idea because I didn't want to just make Luke Skywalker again. I wanted a character that had different challenges and could have a different story than Luke. But,
I'll stop it there because what he says there is fine. No one gives a fuck if you've got a female character, but it's how you're boosting up that character, giving them things they don't earn. But we'll carry on playing it.
And for George, it wasn't. I mean, obviously, it was his idea. For fans, this was a very different idea. The general public as a whole are going to look at that and say, why? And we just created this character. And there was this funny assumption by a lot of people, because the older fans are complaining, why is this? You're making it for kids. That's the funniest thing anybody ever says to me. You're making Star Wars for kids. I'm like, yeah. Okay. How old were you when you saw Star Wars? And they're, the first time I saw Star Wars, I was 7 years old, and my dad took me, and I'm like, uh-huh.
No one complains it's for kids.
And you want to
all
rob
started
this
watching when we were
experience from
kids.
Kids Today, why? And make it all dark and sinister and evil? Okay. Anyway, back to Ahsoka. There's this assumption that young girls were going to like the character of Ahsoka. We relate that, right? Apples to apples. Of course, we make a young girl character, so all the young girls would like Ahsoka. It's almost to say, like, but what about the boys? This absurd notion. So what we found was this amazing thing. It will shock none of you. That when you create a strong, independent, intelligent character that shows no fear, that can do amazing things, boys and girls like her.
And you said it yourself. No fear, intelligent. You just throw in. It's just got to be a perfect character with no flaws, and everyone will like them. No, we don't like characters like that. We want flaws in our characters. We don't care if it's got a fucking dick or a vagina. That's where it stopped. There's only two. The problem we had, I used to like Ahsoka until the Ahsoka series, but that's a story for a different time. Sure, I'll go over it when Ahsoka Series 2 comes out. If it comes out. But the problem is, you have characters like Rey. She comes in, she earns nothing. She just gets everything basically handed to her. Luck is on her side the whole way. She learns how to do things with no training. How it gets explained in the end is, comes from Palpatine. She's Palpatine's grandchild. Okay. Luke was Vader's son, but he still had to go through training, and he didn't become powerful until after the movies, really. You have to go read the canon to find out how powerful he actually becomes. But she just thinks about it and can do it. Then it's all the characters that are around her she has to belittle all the time. This is why no one liked Rey. It wasn't because Rey is female. No one cares about Rey being female. People care about her having no flaws. It's ridiculous. It just shows that you were pushing something. Luke wasn't perfect back in the original trilogy. Anakin wasn't perfect in the prequels. Even in Clone Wars and stuff, you had all the extra characters you had in that and stuff. Look, none of them were perfect. Everyone had flaws, and it's why everyone loved it. And even and you go down the route saying Count Dooku thought he was perfect, things like that, and Palpatine thought he was perfect, but the villains, they think they're perfect, and that's why they fail. So Rey is more of a villain than a hero, to be honest, but not because she thinks it. It's because how she portrays herself and how she can do things and not earn it. It's ridiculous. Anyway, we'll carry on.
This is what we've tried to do with the Star Wars saga now. We've tried to create more female characters who can represent so many things, because what we're trying to do isn't just create one type of character. We're trying to create a diverse range of characters, especially female characters that are strong, that are independent.
That's what Star Wars is. It's a diverse set of characters. It has been all the way through. It's what Star Wars is. Yeah, the main cast and original trilogy and things like that. Yeah, they're all humanoids, things like that. But you still have the alien species and stuff. There are diverse characters. Original trilogy, yeah, they're humanoids, but everyone has their different weaknesses and strengths. And that's what brings it diverse. We don't need to go down the route of, it's diverse because we're ticking these check boxes. We have the first characters by personalities. No one generally cares what you've got in your pants and what colour your skin is. We care about the character. And it's where you're missing the point. Anyway, carry on again.
When you look at Rey, on The Force Awakens, she's a female lead in a whole new chapter of the Star Wars saga. We haven't done a movie for 10 years, and here comes a Star Wars film, and here comes Rey. And what is it? Is it Panic in the Streets? Oh my gosh, a female lead in a Star Wars movie. And then the trailer for Rogue One comes out, and it's another female lead. Oh my gosh, how unfair. We've had probably two.
Again, that wasn't a massive thing. if you were actually part of the Star Wars communities back then because we were excited about getting new things, we didn't realize the route it was going down. When we saw Rey, we were excited to see Rey. I've even got Rey figures back there from that I bought before Force Awakens came out because I thought I would like the character. That changed quickly. Same with Rogue One, Jen Erso. It wasn't the fact that she's a woman. No one cares that she's a woman. It's how the character's written. With Rogue One, the whole movie, the first 2/3 of that movie were just boring. The end was okay. It was good. It was just not needed, to be honest. There's probably the better ones out of the Disney lot. And I think with Rogue One, what made Rogue One better is if you read the prequel novel to that movie, because it adds more to the story and it adds more to why they were on that farm and who Krennic was and things like that. It added a lot more to the characters. I read that before Rogue One came out of the cinema, and it did make it better overall. I don't think there's not one part I was thinking, oh my God, the female lead. I don't care anymore. This is awful. No, care about how they're written. Carry on.
Million straight film cinematic roles where men have been leads, and now we've done 2 in a row that are women. Well, too bad. Oh well. Maybe there are more coming. I don't know. This is this idea that and I run into this sometimes when working with writers. It's like, well, we just made one of those. Made one of what? We just made a female lead. We can make another one. Really? Yes, we can. There's more than one woman in the world. There's more than one woman here in the world. Why is that so strange? If we made 5 men heroes in a row, no one would blink. Rey, she impresses Han Solo. He's like the guy's guy, impresses him, impresses everybody in the audience. She goes up with...
Yeah, impresses Han Solo. After not earning it, and after he spent his life around people like Luke, and he would have been there when Ben started learning his powers before he went off to Luke to learn, to train as a Jedi. He would have been there when Leia was training to be a Jedi as well. It was just a matter of fact that they were blowing smoke up her ass. And that's what's retarded about it.
Kylo Ren, she punks him right away. He's supposed to be this...
Again, someone who's more trained in the Force, and she just beats him. I'll stop pausing.
Great guy, wiped out all these people. I don't know. She took that lightsaber and was like, I'm going to take you out. And she did. And I'm all for it. And she looks strong. It's not that she doesn't show any fear. She looks like this is an intense moment in her life, and we're there with her because of that, because she's a real feeling dimensional person. That's what we want, a real feeling dimensional person. We are trying to
but it's not real
create
feeling.
An environment where it's my hope that kind of just like Luke, all he did was open that door, right? He just opened that door, let Leia out, and she's went gangbusters. So I just want to be a part at Lucasfilm of opening this door to a new generation of filmmakers, of women that come into Lucasfilm and can be creative. It's a strong future for Star Wars. Our force for women characters, strong women characters, intelligent women characters of all description. It won't just stop with 2 movies. It's something we're dedicated to for the foreseeable future.
And look how that's going.
They're just great characters. Thank you so much.
At the end of the day, I understand that here he's talking at one of these women information technology, or whatever that is. It's a massive summit for empowering women and stuff, and that's great and stuff. But it's not just there, is it? Star Wars has been attacking its own fandom. When we're saying we don't like these characters, we don't like this movie, they'll automatically come out and say that we don't like it because there's a woman. We don't like it because there's a black person. We don't like it because there's a gay person, which we don't need gay people in it. No one gives 2 fucks about what sex they are, what race they are. We want interesting characters. That's all we want in Star Wars. The fandom that came along when George Lucas sold Lucasfilm to Disney, it was just like a money printing machine for them. And I'm gobsmacked how they've thrown it away. They could have just left it all alone, stopped making these promises, put someone better in charge. I don't know. Star Wars is at that point now where we need a long break. We don't need parasite cucks like this you know gets pegged by his missus. 100%. We don't need anything for a while. We don't need people like this in charge. The person in charge of the business side of it, because he clearly can't do it, so he's just in charge of the creative side. But the person in charge of the business side has been the person who's in charge of the business side for years now, and the business is failing for it. Like, it'll always make money for its merchandise and stuff. It'll always make money through things like through the things when they're doing the anniversary events, and people want to still throw their money at prequel and original trilogy stuff. But when it comes to the newer stuff, you see loads of the merch and like the figures, toys, all that lot on the shelves, and they're getting reduced. You can pick them up for like 50 pence. No one wants them. Back when they first started bringing out like the Black Series stuff and stuff, and you had where it was like Force Awakens come out, it was hard to get hold of some of the Black Series. You had to like be there day one, otherwise you're gonna have to pay a stupid amount on eBay for them, for a second-hand one, or you just have to get lucky and find one in the world. Now, if there's something new that comes out, just wait a month, it'll be on bargain, unless it's something to do with prequels or original trilogy. But it's just like, we've had things like the Acolyte, we've had the Ahsoka series, we had the Kenobi series, which we never needed that Kenobi series, and it ruined a lot of the lore for that time period. They were just throwing things at it to hope that something stuck, and it didn't. But at the end of the day, this cuck needs to shut the fuck up, starters. They need to have a long break, come back in like 10 years, have someone new in charge of it, let the world repair itself so we can stop this whole agenda push and stuff. You don't need it in Star Wars. Like, you always hear these people saying Star Wars has always been political, Star Wars has always been woke, Star Wars was based around Nazis and all that for the Empire. It's like, yeah, based, but it's not them though, is it? But it's very different saying something from the late 70s was woke compared to nowadays woke. You didn't have like Han Solo on the Death Star in New Hope prancing down the hallways, did you? You just look at Star Trek. Look how that's going at the moment. That's probably the future. If Star Wars actually carries on bringing stuff out, but everything keeps on getting cancelled or is getting forgotten, which, to be fair, is probably a good thing that it just gets thrown in the bin and no one ever hears about it again. But anyway, are people actually excited for this out there? Are people praising that Kathleen Kennedy's gone and we're getting Dave Filoni? Are people just happy that Kathleen Kennedy's gone and they don't realise what Dave Filoni's like? Dave Filoni did trick people for a while, but again, I'll repeat, he's a parasite. He'll just cling on to things. He doesn't care. And he only cares about his own characters as well. Like, when you hear about him talking, it's always about Ahsoka and things like that. But yeah. Anyway, let me know what you think. Are you excited for Dave Filoni taking over the creative side of Lucasfilm? Because you've got to remember as well, Lucasfilm, it's not just Star Wars, is it? It means that he's got things like Indiana Jones and Willow and things like that. Is he up for it? Will he bring it around? I don't think so. I think he's just going to bury it deeper, to be honest. But let me know what you think. And until next time, if there's a next time, there will be a next time. I'll catch you later.